part 21, the Voodoo doll spells decree. So chapter 5, what would Eckhart say? He was my one-on-one teacher. My first awakening was in 1997 to 2000. And so I awakened quickly. Well, I had Eckhart there every Tuesday. So he helped a lot. I know I did it, but he helped a lot. He's a good teacher. And so Eckhart Tolle would say, the mind ego is not you. And I would say the installation is not you. And the ego is an installation. And eject the ego. Eckhart teaches presence. I teach sovereignty with the decree. Eckhart shows the end of ego suffering. I show the end of generational karmic loops with the decree. Eckhart carries stillness. I carry fire. Eckhart is the divine masculine holding, and I am the divine feminine. So I was 20 years old when I had that big awakening. Not hit like him, not like Eckhart, where the ego fully ejected in one moment, but over 3 years. So I was anchoring not just 5D consciousness. That's what I thought, but it was actually 6 and 7D consciousness as well. And, you know, I was like many empaths. I was a people pleaser. I was fully trauma bonded, easily manipulated, and then surrounded by the dark triad. And I really wanted us all to wake up together and awaken together, you know? And it was false. It was, for one, they have to choose for themselves. Free will is very strict on, it's like a cosmic law, not just on Earth, but it's a cosmic law. And that's when the false sneaky snake came in, 3D interference, you know, preying on my heart. You know, you can't leave your family and awaken on your own. How selfish. You're so selfish, you know, and I could hear my mother's voice anchoring, you know, and then putting doubt on Eckhart. So guilt binding to consciousness in the past, fear creating paralysis, doubt, you know, eroding trust in the unseen, because I needed to fully let go. To have full 7D consciousness, you have to fully let go. And, you know, I said, no, I got to shut it down because I need to do this with my family. And I wanted to take 5 to 7D consciousness to 3D. And Eckhart said that you can't do that. It doesn't work like that. You can't bring a higher frequency into a lower density. And he said, it's madness to shut it all down. And he said, if you do, it's going to be very painful and it will take 23 years to come back. And I would need somatic therapy weekly. And he said, if you even awaken again. That was he was trying to really help me, you know. But I'm here to tell you that Eckhart was right. But I made it through. And I did the weekly somatic therapy. And I did the meditating. And it was dark. He was right. It is very dark. 3D is very dark. It's very convoluted. And they didn't want it. And actually, I got severely penalized for it. In my family, not my father, but with my 3 siblings and the mother, and then, you know, many of the relatives. But it doesn't matter, you know, they didn't understand what I was doing, or maybe they do on some level, but I needed to understand, and I also needed to choose for myself. Because awakening in consciousness is a true sovereign choice, and we can't choose it for others. You know, it takes commitment and a calling. You know, for me, consciousness is a calling. And I'll never give up my connection to God, source, divine presence, ever. Like, it's primary. And when you turn to love, when you turn to God, source, divine presence, the archons, they melt. They can't meet you in the heart. Like, I've always been surrounded by at least 4 to 8 reptilians, Draco reptilians, and I have none around me. I have really good heart-based friends. I have none around me. It's amazing, because they can't meet you in the heart space. They exist when you buy into fear and you believe in their power. But when you turn to love and then flash that shadow, it fades. Like, the darkness cannot survive observation. The moment you name it and see it, it loses its power. And so I use the strong words. I use the accurate words. They're the dark triad, the psychopath, sociopath, narcissist. The words are accurate based on the destruction. And the destruction is on purpose. And they thrive on it. And they actually need it to live. They need you to be in pain, almost dead, and that will give them a high. It's unbelievable. And that is how convoluted and inverted 3D is.